What's up, everybody? It's your favorite So to Speak's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the ultimate So to Speak figure, Dreamstar Toys, with their Load Warrior, and that is insane to me. But it doesn't matter, I guess. Oh, what are they thinking? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Just it's a wild name choice, I guess. But this is their long haul, right? This is all known to me from Jim the Phoenix. He helps me out a lot on Patreon, handles the Discord and everything, so I owe him a fair bit of gratitude, not only for this figure, but for that stuff. This set has been hit or miss for me. I wasn't impressed with the scrapper. I did actually really like the hook. I'm hoping that this one leans more towards the hook way, but long haul has a tendency to be the more complicated one to get right. But hey, only one way to know for sure, and that's to take a look at this guy, but in order to do so, we need to first take a look at accessories. So he comes with this gun. We have some silver accents here and here, metallic red on the back. You had to fold this larger handle down to get access to the handle that matches his hands. Once you have that, there's a peg in his hand that will align, I hope, with a slot in his gun. But it is a odd tolerance. I've got it there, but it kind of wants to pop out. But I guess ultimately he can hold it just fine. It just doesn't insert all that nicely for the Load Warrior, you know what I mean? The gun, once folded up, will just like lay inside the back of the vehicle mode and form up another brake light, which is nice enough. You get this Build-A-Figure axe thing, metallic red paint there. The components just align. You got to find out which piece goes where. This slides up, fits around the base, so to speak, and then you have this piece that will also insert, and there's a hole for the hand, but let me show you. You get these two red translucent pieces, and a lot of this stuff is relatively modular, like there's pegs and slots and blah blah blah, and if you find something that works, then you can clip it on anywhere, whether it be on the bot or on the truck or what have you. But it's a significant axe. It does collapse in size and extend. That's probably a more combiner versus single bot sort of thing. Once again, he has a peg in the palm of his hand where you can wrap your hand around and then he'll hold it. A little bit better for me than the gun, but it is heavy, so this is more so like a two-hand Johnny than a one-hand, but you can technically do it. The axe doesn't store in vehicle mode El Total, but you can plug these onto the side. There's two ports, just make sure you have the right one and have it like that. I don't know, it looks dumb to me, but you can do it. He comes with a Build-A-Figure piece from Megatron. I'm not sure why they went with the kind of aesthetic for Megatron to be more like a Constructicon than the Miner. That seems like an odd choice to me, but I'm going to reserve judgment until we put it all together at the end, if I continue with this line until the end. I'm going to reserve judgment until then, but you do get this piece, and it seems to work relatively fine. And let's talk about the figure. So the head is on a ball peg. You get up to there, down to there, swivel, and confused long haul face. You get silver paint on the face plate and on the forehead, red metallic paint in the center there. You have the visor, and electronics or not, if it doesn't light up, or if it's not lit up, or if it looks like this, regardless of electronics, it looks dead. And there's a way to do it where it shines. I say this all the time. People tell me I'm wrong. I point them to Fans Toys Omega Supreme, and then they never respond. But there's a way to do it, trust me. Otherwise, sculpt looks good. Lots of sculpted detail. Still has the iconic elements, I think, of the character of Long Haul that come through. So I dig all that. All right, moving on to the arm. So we have metallic green, metallic purple. That motif carries throughout. We have this gunmetal gray down here. We have some pad printed paint for the danger or the warning high voltage up there. Ratchets out the wazoo. Get you way past 90 degrees. That's a great ratchet right there. Get you around until you bump into the backpack or what have you. There is a significant billified joint, as we say here, which is nice. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows for the full run. We have gunmetal and gold there. Even put some paint on the hand. Nobody ever paints the hand. I love to see that with the metallic red and some more pad printed paint. Outstanding. Outstanding attention to detail. The fingers are individually articulated at a base pin knuckle and then a secondary and tertiary knuckle, and then the thumb is on a ball peg that comes out to a secondary hinge, and secondary hinge and a tertiary hinge. So completely fully articulated hands as well. And then did I mention the wrist swivel? They do. Okay. All right. So tuck that in, so to speak. Waist swivel. There is a ratchet in there. Doesn't feel consistent, but it's in there. Metallic purple, metallic red, pad printed paint. Significant ab crunch. You can fake it backwards too. You break the sculpt up, but significant proper ab crunch. The chest has some pad printed paint for the red markings. Metallic green, metallic purple, silver detailings. All looks good. The hip skirts here get up and out of the way. And we have universals for hips that get you the full Van Damme. We'll back out now. At least, probably more if you push it. And ratchets forward and back to there. Not the full Monty, but probably enough for whatever you would need. The thighs have the Danger paint added on, pad printed paint, which looks great. Thigh swivel just above the knee. The knee is a single hinge, but it gets you 90 degrees until you start really bumping into itself. The lower legs look amazing. Great proportions. I love that. And you have the metallic green, the pad printed paint amongst some gunmetal details, caution stripes, etc. You have a toe hinge down slightly, and you have an ankle rocker. It's almost more arguably a toe tilt rocker, but I think it's good enough. Metallic red there, just absolutely stunning. This is a really, really, really well designed, well built, with good materials, great articulation, engineered action figure. The real test of this is going to be here shortly, but until then, let's do some size comparisons. Very clean from the back. Size comparison wise, there he is next to Scrapper from X-Transbots. I'll put a Masterpiece car in as well, just to kind of give you a baseline. He's huge. He's a big body. He's about the size of a core bot for any combiner team these days in Masterpiece scale, but the Constructicons have a tendency to be more in line with one another, but they're larger. So as a heads up, if that matters to you. All right, let's go ahead and get him transformed. Real quick on the back here, the backpack does have some options. You can have this up or these up, or whatever aesthetic cue you may prefer. Lift this panel up here that's connected to his fist, rotate the fist in, collapse the fist, rotate the bicep 180, move this tire out of your way, and you have to open this up and then fold this piece out, and then this piece comes back around. The tire rotates on this gray piece so that it flips in this most outward position, and then your bicep comes up and locks into the rear of the shoulder with a tab slot. So same thing on this section, or this arm rather. Up, hand in, down, rotate the bicep 180, move your tire out of the way, flip this section down, move your tire back, extend it, clip that into place, and then bring your forearm up and tab it into the rear of the shoulder. Open this section up here, the middle chest. You can extend this green piece. We're also going to drop down these green sides, like his pecs, if you will, down. You can rotate the head in. Untab the backpack, just make sure it's loose so that these pieces here can spin freely. These pieces need to untab and then rotate down to the bottom and tab back in. There, and it's a little unnerving because you do get a fair amount of torque. Tab back in, then This green piece comes back up and over the head, or the purple and silver. The green piece on top covers down, and then the two pecs also come up and slide back in. All right, there's a fair amount of work to be done on this backpack, so let's give it a shot. So this in two major sections. You can disconnect those sections by straightening out these two side flaps, and then you want to spin the entire assembly around, and you can tab that back in. This piece is a separate piece, the grill. Let me see a grill. And that will disconnect and rotate down. And there's these two inner pieces here that will flip out. And actually, it will ultimately need to sit in this purple chest, so you can kind of leave that out as well. All right. Let's see what we got going on. So, just stay cognizant of all this stuff. Make sure it stays out of your way. The side shoulder pieces here need to rotate, but they also need to stay locked in. So you're moving the ratchet against the locking mechanism. And then this piece will untab, spin around, sit back on top. So same thing on this side. Once again, you're moving the ratchet against the assembly that you've just pegged in. So it does take a little bit of finesse, but rotate it down, then rotate this piece up and around. And let me make sure there's nothing to be done here. That can just sit back down. Yes. Yes. And then there's a peg here. There's two pegs inside the shoulder assembly itself, and all of that needs to connect. And then the same for this side. Now this one has a little bit more to be done, but for right now. And then this piece comes up and over and hooks onto the top. All right, so once again, it's a series of tabs inside the shoulder assembly, and then one significant size peg, so to speak, that goes into the chest. All right, and then this comes up and over and pegs in. You have that piece now locked together. This window comes up and over. There's another window piece here, I believe. Let me get a spudger real quick. I think it's another piece. Yeah, and then this flips out. This all, you gotta lift up this little peg here. This all flips up and over. Make sure that you utilize the double hinge there. And then with the purple piece down, this comes down, sits on top of that. And then these pieces lock into the front shin pieces. I don't know what happened here. Oh, that needs to sit over that side. All right. All good. And then I think the only other thing that you had to do is spin this. And then you can just kind of keep this out of the way for now. But yeah, that's it. It's a lot of steps, but once you got this, it's pretty connected. We're gonna do this leg in bite-sized portions, okay? So untab from the front, untab from the side. There's another piece here that can untab. And this knee can rotate up. This piece can rotate up on the bottom of the kneecap. And then this whole, you can see how this is kind of like locked in here to the, untab that. Bring the foot down until it sits flush against the combiner port there. Take your gray piece, swing this out to the side, just get it out of the way. This piece flips open and around to the back. But this combiner port needs to basically sit at the bottom. So just get this out of your way so you're not working against it. You need to, and it's sturdy. God bless. And there's a fair amount of torque too, but do not move the, oh, I just did it. I just did it. Do not move the foot. Make sure you're moving the ratchet. Then this, make sure you got this all on tab, will rotate forward. And this gray piece here needs to come all the way forward and latch onto that gray peg there, which rotates as well. And then you have to make sure that this, oh God, man, that this gray piece here inside the wheels is rotated down so that this green piece will peg into it and lock all that together. Cut my finger on this guy, so I've been kind of bleeding over him, so I'm going to try to be careful. I've wiped him down. So that sucks. Alright, so we have this, and there's a good chance that it will come out of place. Just, it's on a double hinge it back. Then you have this piece that will tab in to the back there, and then you can just leave this sort of out and about, and then this gray piece, make sure that that's flipped up, and then this gray piece just flips around to the back. And that's one side done. Alright, so one good turn deserves another, and apparently one bad turn does as well. So let's untab this, leave this out to the side. Remember, we have this little peg there, and we have all this stuff. So we can get the knee out and about, that'll come up. The bottom of the knee pad will come up, and that piece we can get out of the way. This piece we can flip down. The foot is pegged in, so make sure that that gets unpegged. Then you can flip this piece into the center. Make sure it's unpegged from this side as well. And then flip the foot up. And then this is where the tricky part is, just because there's no stopping point. So you just have to like keep lining it up, which is pretty obnoxious. Get this gray piece up and out to the side, wherever. And we're going to rotate at the ratchet. And then we're going to bring this whole section down. Until that lines up with this peg. If it's not quite lined up, it will rotate on you, so just get that the best you can. We're going to get this out and away. Out to the back. Alright, I'm not sure what's going on there, but this needs to come and rotate down. And you just got to keep working it, man. Like, there's no, like, you just have to keep messing with this ratchet, messing with the tire until you get it lined up somewhat sensibly. I'm not sure why this one isn't going. Let's see. And they're getting closer. Yeah, I'll have to get it off camera, and I'll meet you back up. Get that in, and then you have to rotate this gray piece here until that'll plug in with that. That's pretty much lined up. I just got to get this piece quite right, and we'll come back. I got it. Once again, it just takes an extraordinary amount of effort to get right. So we're going to double hinge the toes back, and then we're going to plug this in to the side there, and then I think the only thing left that we have is to bring this together. You can fold this up and then this around to the back. And let me make sure that's all right before we close her up. All right, take this piece, extend this all down. This will tab into the knees. This goes into the side of the, and then there's tabs here at the bottom that will also correlate. And let's just hope for the best. There's one. There's the other. Oh. There's the other. And then I'm trying to keep pressure on it because I don't want that one to pop out. These pieces flip up and over and latch in. That will help keep it all together. Good night, dude. All right, so then collapse the cab down. You have these two side panels here, and there's a port on each that go into an unsightly peg in robot mode on the waist. Oh, God. This company sucks, man. All right, bring these down. And then make sure that all this stuff is locked back in, which it won't be, so. Peg that in. Straighten these out, peg those into the side here. And then there's two green pegs here that co-align with two ports there. Just rock that back, peg that in. This came undone again. And then I'll clean all that up later. And then you bring up your pieces here. These come up. There is a tab there. Line that up. Fold this piece over. Bring it up. Line that up. Oh, that's not pegged in. Line that up. Fold this piece over. And there it is. I will clean it up. We'll take a look at it. So there it is. We'll go ahead and get Tiger Tracks out so you can take a look. I mean, it's massive, you know, which makes sense because the robot's big and it has a ton of panels and everything else. Getting it here sucks. The upper body's kind of fun and intuitive and interesting. The lower body is just nightmare fuel. Rolls like a champ. I probably could get this a little tighter, you know, across the board if I had all the time in the world. But I mean, I started this, just the transforming part. It took me an hour and a half to get it here. Not cool, man. Like, just not smart. The lower body's just not smart. You know, it's a silly way to kind of accomplish it. I'm not even sure it's 100% right. I think these bits are actually supposed to go behind the feet, but I can't find room to fit it all. So I've had enough with this. The red accents look cool throughout. Like, you got metallic red up on here, the red headlights, the red lights down there, the red windshield. Like, the red motif even on the brake lights and such, like, I think is nice. The caution stripes and stuff on top of the gray is fine. And the heavy dutiness of it is not lost on me. Like, I can appreciate that. I think it's a decent enough looking, but like, so here's the thing, right? Like, even the bed is like filled with junk. So it's like, okay, you spend an hour and a half of a frustrating experience. Well, no, about an hour of frustrating experience and then a half hour of pleasurable experience getting it here, and then it doesn't even really clean up, you know, all the way. Like, front end looks good, and it looks good from most angles, but I can't necessarily say that I'm impressed. I think I had the wheels down here. You do have to collapse them back up. You know, that should make sense to you when you see it in your hands, if you're the poor unfortunate soul that bought this. So yeah, there you go. I'm really debating whether or not I should go through this, but I guess I will give it a shot. Combine mode. So open this up, just get these out of your way for now. And we pretty much have to untab everything. So untab this, untab this, untab this, untab that, untab this, untab this, untab this. Just get that out of your way. Untab that. These two parts that are surrounding the hip. Untab both of them. Fold up these little bits on the back. Move them away from this centerpiece, which then you can kind of just bring up. You can just collapse it back down again for now. Let's see. Then we should be able to bring this down. This green panel has to rotate around to the front. And there's a gray panel inside the thigh that will come undone, come back around and tab into the back. And then that's what allows, like, the classic combiner hip approach. And then actually I think this goes to the side. And just sits amongst the side. This piece here has two clips that come out. There's actually two pegs. And this will come down and around and clip onto the side here, but we got to get some of this stuff out of the way. So just move this tire out of the way until you can maneuver Why is this giving me such a hard time? Alright, so I got it. It comes from manipulating the piece that this side section is on. That's what you're looking for. I'll let you get a screenshot. The angle here. This is, once again, it's just no fun, man. This comes up and tabs in to that. This, I think, just sits along there sideways. The toe... I think comes back out because there's another section of the toe here that comes out, which I can't find at the moment. This gray piece comes down, tucks in and around, and that green piece pegs back in, and this combiner port sits down there at the bottom, and there's a piece here that I just can't get free. Hold on. All right, I finally got it. You just got to pull down on the toes, and then you'll get it. And then I'll tell you, then this piece is supposed to come around, and this piece is supposed to come around. But there, golly, dude, like it shouldn't be this hard. Like it's stuff like this that, like, I mean, it's so ridiculous. It makes me want to like just stop altogether. This is going to be the piece that breaks me. This has been a weird turn of fate. This is going to be the piece that breaks me. All right. I did the other one off camera just to save us all a little bit of struggle. Bring this down, and there's 2 pegs on the side of this purple body that'll tab in to 2 ports on the green piece that we rotated 180 degrees earlier on. This you can get up and out of the way. Bring your wheels out. This piece comes back around and tucks in how it was in robot mode. And then this comes back over top of it. And then the wheel sits around on the back. Same for this side. Unpeg the wheel. Unpeg this piece. This piece flips in. Pegs back in. The wheel comes back around. The tire goes to the back. Take this. Spin. Open. Spin 180. Why doesn't... Maybe that sits down like that. Over here, this piece flips up. This piece comes around. Those 3 pieces peg into 3 ports at the back on the purple piece. And I think these just sit like this. And then this piece sits down. Untab these side pieces here. And lift this up from out. Bring this. There's a little connector piece here. Bring that up. Bring this up. That'll peg up before you do. Fold your connector pieces back inside. Bring that up. That'll peg into the chest. Bring this up, and then bring the purple piece up. All right, now, I'm not sure if I should have done that first, because we got to untab all this stuff, really, because you got to get access to this chest piece. There, bring that down. You bring this back up. That'll peg back in. There's 2 gray pieces inside the chest piece. Flip those up. They'll come back up and grab a hold of these 2 pegs here. So this is it, minus like the Megatron Build-A-Figure pieces that get added to it. You know, I mean, it just, I don't know, man. I'm done with this set, I think. I don't think I'm going to continue on. It's just not worth it to me. Like, it's too much of a frustrating experience to make it worth my while. At least it's how I feel. Sometimes I soften up. But, yeah. Blood, sweat, and tears over this one. This is, there's a Tiger Tracks next to it, so it's gonna be a big robot, you know, but, who cares if it sucks to manipulate. Final thoughts wise, we'll start with the negatives. The incorporating the weapons into the hands is a little bit unpleasant. It's just not toleranced quite properly. I'm not entirely sure if that's a paint issue or just a fit and finish issue. I can't say for sure. I also don't like the dead eyes in robot mode. Once again, barring any electronics, there's a ways around that to make it where you don't have to utilize anything to make it work. So not a fan when they do stuff like that. And I mean, the thing is that with this thing is like the robots are cool and the robots work, but the transformation sucks. And then on top of that, like, the transformation doesn't even lead to anything that's all that much spellbounding, you know? Like, the truck is fine. It doesn't equate to the amount of frustration it takes to get to that point. It's not like it makes up for it, like you unlock Pandora's box and you're just like, wow, look how amazing it is. No. You just get to an average truck that probably could have done it in 30 less steps. And the same thing goes for the combine mode. You know, like, it's exhausting, man. Like, the whole thing is exhausting, with the exception of the robot, which works really well. Moving on to the positives, the robot is incredibly successful. Sculpted beautifully, painted beautifully, and to the nines. Looks menacing, looks intimidating, looks threatening. Great materials, really good build, really good articulation to include full billified joints, full ab crunch, double jointed elbows, things that sometimes we take for granted. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's all. It's the robot. The robot is what makes it good. If you want it for a robot, cool. It might work out for a combiner. I'm not sure I'm gonna be ever the one to know, because right now I'm not fond of having this in my home for much longer, and it's not because it's bad inherently, right? I mean, it's just that the experience of it sucks. It's not a fun experience, you know, and I don't know, fun is important to this for me. This is supposed to be a break from the stresses of life and the nonsense of life and, you know, your bills and keeping up with everything and maintaining your home and all of the kind of stuff that you have to do. This is supposed to be like a getaway from that. And when this becomes part of the frustrating elements of life, what's the point? Pass. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.